right, so this is your guy, Nathan Lee, a.k.a. TheBraveArtist. And I am here with my good friend, Nick Addonizio.
And with a pen.
And you guys who don't know Nick, he's not only a friend of mine, Nick is also the other half of the writing duo that we are. And we've written a couple of scripts, and we've got things that we want to see become actual projects. But we are sitting at one of our favorite hangouts, which is Picasso's. And we were on the subject of movie reboots and remakes. And one of the biggest ones happening is The Exorcist. Well, it was supposed to be one of the biggest ones.
So you're telling me?
Yeah. And I'm not proud of this. I didn't spend any money on it, but I am proud that I saved $1.
Cheap ass. I could speak figuratively, and I don't have to worry about censorship, do I?
No, man, this is
good because I'm pretty blind, especially when it comes to talking about this shit.
So, we both have a love of horror movies, and it's October.
It is.
The Exorcist just came out, and before we get into that, Nick was talking about something that it kind of irks the both of us. Now, the reboot of Halloween. Is that what was it the
yeah? So
David Gordon Green, which is pretty funny because he's
the same guy did The Exorcist.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. So basically what I was saying was the original Halloween classic. Everybody knows. I mean, even if you're not a horror fan, you can appreciate.
You know Halloween.
You know Halloween, right?
Yeah.
Halloween 2 came out in 1981. It's supposed to be taking place right after the events of the original Halloween. Obviously, you can tell they got a little bit more influenced by the slasher genre. Whether you consider the original slasher or not, I mean, that's debated then. But Halloween 2, definitely more in that vein, definitely more blood and all that stuff. And now we know how it goes after that. They did Season of the Witch, which had nothing to do with the Michael Myers.
I don't even know why they made that one. I don't know how I feel about Season of the Witch.
I think that's a topic for another time because I actually did like that film for a different reason.
Okay, then we're going to go over Season of the Witch.
Okay.
Bookmark that one.
I will. Halloween 4 was kind of like another reboot, supposed to sequel, making the Myers character more superhuman. They did a couple other things with the H2O. Now, Halloween 2018 was supposed to just overwrite all of that up for the original. It's supposed to be a sequel to the original film, as if everything else didn't take place. Now, I watched Halloween 2018, and I did like it for the most part, but as I was explaining to you earlier, I liked it up until probably the last 45 minutes, where you see him, the Michael Myers character, get up and smash someone's face in with his foot like a melon. And that ruined it for me because the original Michael Myers, they hint that he's evil, but he doesn't really do things like that. I mean, yeah, he lifts a guy off, so it ends into one.
Let me ask you this. When he started becoming supernatural, did you still appreciate the character, or did you appreciate him when he was just this maniac?
Well, the idea of him was supposed to be that he's pure evil. I get that. What I'm saying is what the original film did, and did well, was the atmosphere.
Yeah.
I mean, Halloween, the original Halloween, when you think about it, had very little blood. The bloodiest scene.
That's true. That was another movie that didn't have blood.
It did, but it was the very beginning that had the bloodiest scene in the whole film. Other than that, hardly a drop of blood.
It's like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, no blood, hardly. But it just seemed like it was violent because it just felt violent.
That's because they did well with what they had, and they made it work psychologically. When you see this average height guy pick this dude up in one hand, okay, yes, that's a feat of strength. But he's not crushing skulls with his bare hands necessarily, right?
True.
I mean, yes, he pins him to a wall at night, and that's ridiculous, but it's so they make him more human is what I'm trying to get out of this. It made it seem like he actually has strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
Even though, he gets up after being wounded and whatever. But
so the David Gordon Green one, was it a tale of two different films, or was it? Did it feel cohesive? And I'm asking this for a reason, okay? Because
I think what he was trying to do is he was trying to piece fans all all fans of the Halloween genre in the Rob Zombie era, because it starts off kind of like playing tribute to the original series.
Yeah.
A little bit of like Halloween 2 to Halloween 6 or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? But then you add the ridiculous head crush scene, which reminded me of Rob Zombie's Halloween. All of a sudden it got kind of cry-nazy, right? It really didn't fit. It was kind of ridiculous.
You think he was trying to make too many groups happy as far as like...
I think so. Because one of the things he said in the interview was he was going to try and make sure that Michael Myers wasn't superhuman.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, he dropped the ball with that the last 45 minutes.
That's why Roland Emmerich taking away fire from Godzilla. It's like, why would you do
Well,
that?
technically he did. You remember the part where the gas pipe goes off.
Yeah, but
There's another scene too, but we won't talk about that.
but he needed assistance, it seems like. He was like,
Yeah.
you know,
We're talking about the movie Matthew Rogers, right?
yeah.
Yeah. I actually went to the theater to see that.
Yeah, I too.
Yeah.
And he got killed by the National Guard. He got killed by 2nd Street.
So, but you know what? So that was my thoughts and feelings. And when Halloween Kill came out, they went off the deep end. I mean, right from the beginning, Michael Myers.
Did David direct that one?
I'm not sure if he directed it, but
Yeah, well, we'll have to look to see if he directed that.
yeah. At that point, I was done. I saw it right at the get-go. He starts off, he's hiding from this big wire and like behind the shutter door,
Yeah.
and he kills 5 firemen, like just like that. And I'm like, the original Michael Myers couldn't do that. So now all of a sudden he's superhuman. Come on.
Yeah, that's kind of inconsistent.
It is. And then from what I hear of Halloween Ends, which I never saw, he's not even really at the forefront of the whole film until like parts of the middle and the very end. And all of a sudden he's weak again. It's pick up your mind.
Like, what's the point?
Right.
Well, I will say this. Since we're talking about David Gordon's movies, I did something. I went on ahead, and like I said, I saved a buck, and I saw
Pull the dick move.
I did. Well, because I wasn't sure. I don't have a problem giving people money for movies. You know what I mean? If it's a director that I love, they ask me, am I going to go see a Coen Brothers movie? They're getting my money.
Yeah, I don't blame you for that. I mean,
But I was kind of on the fence about this one because the initial advertisement, they were showing a poster. They had a movie poster with her head turned backwards. So what that said to me is that they were going to rely on gimmicks to begin with and not make a good movie. So I was kind of skeptical. And so when I'm watching this movie, Bootleg, the first half, I'm going to tell you, and Nick, it was all right. The dad, they did the traditional obligatory race swapping. Well, it's not even race swapping. They made sure, because he was an original character, they filled their quota. Okay. You got the black dad, you got the 2, kids. You got to make sure you have a white kid, black kid. And it
wasn't a mixed family.
Man, it just... My point is they were checking off boxes. But for the first half of the movie,
Saving Halloween, after the first half, it's like they disrupt them all.
It was legitimately building a creepy atmosphere because the girls had disappeared. It played like a police thrill, like a very creepy. I don't want to say it was like Seven, but sort of creepy.
They actually allowed build-up.
Exactly.
Which is lacking in a lot of horror films nowadays, in my honest opinion.
Yeah. Well, the second half of the movie, and, this is going to go to what we're, really going to talk about as far as the, reboots. Are they even necessary if they're not going to, give a damn about the source material?
I think reboots are a red herring.
Yeah.
Sometimes they pull them off okay. Sometimes they pull them off well. Most of the time, they don't pull off at all. Again, this is just my opinion on the matter. When anybody has an opposing argument or opinion, no problems there. But
the second half of the movie was almost like they treated it like, it's like the suits came in and said, okay, David, we give you this half of the film.
Now you got to give us this.
You got to give us this half.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. It's they brought the original mother in from the original Exorcist, and she came in like Billy Badass, and I thought something was going to happen. She ends up getting her eyes poked out. So it's like, okay, so what was the point of her?
You wasted a budget to bring her in, you bring her no name, the word,
Yeah.
and you don't even utilize it for it.
No. And when the actual exorcism happens, they bring in people of different religions and races to converge upon, because it's 2 possessed girls. That's the hook. There's 2 girls, they end up getting possessed. In the beginning, they go missing, and then they get found, but you know, they've already got the devil in them or whatever.
Right. Pazuzu. It is Pazuzu again, right?
You know, after a while, I stopped even caring.
Damn.
Yeah, I didn't care. So what ends up happening,
They dropped the ball.
is they bring in the coalition on a mission. They make sure all religion, all faiths, all races, and they all try to get the demon out. Things don't work out that way. My problem is, why is there a need to check off bodices on a movie when you do today's reboots instead of bringing something different? And so Aliens was a straight-up horror movie, right?
The original Alien was a straight up horror. Okay, see, Aliens, you can argue sci-fi horror, but I mean, in all honesty, I saw sci-fi action.
Yeah.
Yes, I do it too. It had some suspense and horror elements to it, but I mean, it was a few far between compared to like the original. The original was a straight up horror film.
So if it's sci-fi action, they did something different. They took the original one, and rather than try to match it, they went on ahead and they said, okay, let me make a great movie that stands on its own. If you've never seen the first Alien, you would still say, I don't know who this chick is, Ripley, but she's tough as nails, and she's seen some stuff that scared the crap out of her. Or it was a good movie.
It was a good movie, and Aliens was a good movie too. Both of it. But you could tell right off the bat that they were different from one another. I mean, yes, like I said, Aliens had some horror and some suspense elements into it, but right off the bat, it's action packed.
And I kind of respect that, because they didn't try to take a great horror and just make a good or okay horror.
No, instead they made a fantastic science fiction film that still, to this day, stands the test of time.
So reboots, for me, reboots aren't doing it. It's hard for me to get excited about one. There's one recent reboot that I actually liked. That was Suspiria. And I don't,
You hated the original, I remember.
You know what? It's a love-hate thing, man. I go back and forth because I own both of them. But
You were intrigued by the whole rotoscope way of the original.
the color, yeah, he did this whole Technicolor thing.
Technically, that's what I said.
Yeah,
My bad.
But
Rotoscope was the shit from
Lord of the Rings,
the Ralph
Ralph
Bakshi.
Bakshi.
Scares the shit out of me. We'll go into that another time, because honestly, I think that should be used today with our current technology, because that will be creepy as hell.
Rotoscope stuff and stop motion stuff scares me to death. If there's a hell, what did we say? It would be rotoscoped and it would be stop motion.
Together,
Yeah.
it's a bad acid trip waiting to happen.
Well, the remake, they're doing cash grabs, and I think
They have been, though. I mean, that's nothing different. They've been doing cash grabs for like the last 40 years.
there's a couple that they tried to legitimately make a good movie. The Evil Dead remake. That was a good one. I mean, was it great?
It wasn't great, but
It was good.
they could have easily let that lead into anything, because it wasn't. It was it was a reboot in the sense that it was a different story, completely separate from what we
Just a
It's
reimagining.
a must that love the Evil Dead have come to know.
Yeah, it was a reimagining, and I respect them. I respect them for doing the reimagining, because you're not going to outdo.
You're not gonna. There's
There's some people that are just iconic. And I said, look, I'm going to quit watching reboots. If they remake Enter the Dragon, I'm done.
do not fucking touch Enter the Dragon. I'm gonna say that right now. Don't you?
Do not touch Enter the Dragon. But, a lot of Hollywood, and I've talked with Melissa about this, it's hard to get an original film made and backed because nobody wants to work that hard. So the end result is you get all these remakes, you get all these reboots because it's low-hanging fruit. That's what Hollywood thought. Well, the opening of The Exorcist, it opened to $26 million, I think, nationwide.
The original.
No. I'm talking about the current one. Now, here's the thing. They spent $400 million to buy the rights to The Exorcist.
Wow.
Okay, that's fiscally irresponsible.
Yeah.
So let me get this right.
That's actually sickening.
20, because you know it's a downward trajectory. Your opening weekend is supposed to be your largest weekend, right?
Yes.
So if the largest weekend that they had was $26 million,
I don't believe it. But can I be the way?
and they've got
$300 million just to get the rights.
the rights, that's not even the budget. Plus, it's a 3-movie deal. They're going to do 3 movies for The Exorcist.
I don't see him going through a bowl.
They're already talking about some changes.
Of course they are.
But how
What do we do to appeal to today's generation with how much we lost? Oh,
But they're happy to lose money, and I'm not understanding why the industry's happy to lose money on these reboots. Before, I understood why they were doing reboots, because that's a preset audience. They already have people. There's already a fan base. That makes sense, you know?
Exorcist has been around since 1973.
Scaring the crap out of people since '73.
Yeah. It's a household name as far as like horror fans, but
Dune got a reboot, but it had a whole audience that was waiting. They were sitting there with their fingers crossed for it.
same thing with Star Wars, and we know how that went.
But they did make their money back because
They did.
But The Exorcist, the audience that loved the movie, they went in and they were like, yeah, I don't know. So they were loosey-goosey to begin with. Why on earth did you not gauge that before you did what you did? You're not going to make your money back. Your problem is going to be 300 million, 400 million in the hole when you consider what was the budget for making these movies. And Hollywood keeps doing it. And they keep checking off the boxes. And they keep making products. It's not even woke for real. It's like an imitation of woke. I don't think there's anything wrong with being socially aware, but you got to make a good movie. You can't just say, well, I'm socially aware, and I'm going to make this public service spot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to make a good movie in the middle.
That seems to be a problem with a lot of films nowadays. It's not so much about the script, it's not so much about the story, it's about what's the message behind this. That's more important than the film itself. And it's like, but these people that do this, they forget that these films, it's meant for entertainment at the end of the day.
Number one, entertainment.
Number one, entertainment.
Number two,
creative outlet.
Yeah.
I mean, because let's face it, you're sitting there with a pen or, typewriter, keyboard, whatever you use. It's a typewriter in this day and age, quite wrongly. But it's your way of expressing your creative outlet, writing the story, creating characters, hopefully developing these characters, giving them real personalities, giving them drive, giving them intentions. Coming out with their body language, their movements, their actions, putting all that into it. And
I think they've forgotten. I think Hollywood's gotten lazy.
Yeah.
But is the public making it so that Hollywood can be lazy? If you keep buying this stuff, if you keep consuming the shit, then why not make it? If you're making a low bat, it's kind of like, what's that terrible pizza that people used to buy from the grocery store? Is that Geno's?
I don't know, man.
Godfather's? That's back in my days. Godfather's used to actually be good. But it's like buying this, I think it's a Geno's pizza. And
I know you saw. It took me a second.
yeah, it's not
With a J, right?
Yeah,
That was the thing where the G is.
it's not real meat, but it's on hand, it's ready, it's accessible. But after a while, you get sick of Geno's. And you're like, man, this is kind of disgusting. CC's Pizza's the same way. You'll eat a couple, you
I don't.
don't mess with CC's?
It's not about that life, man. Roll Little Caesars. I'm not about that life. Really.
No, I'm not about Little C. I used to work there, so I know it.
Yeah, no like.
Did you?
And
Your former boss, still my boss, worked at Little Caesars.
which former boss are we talking about?
You know who I'm talking about. Yeah. Used to work there. Yeah.
This is fantastic information. I'm glad this is relevant to our film discussion.
Absolutely is not.
but we got there. We do life separate. All right.
In a nutshell, I think I think we're seeing the end of the microwavable movie that you just want to fool people with. I think the public is now asking for whatever's missing. It's like there's something missing in movies now. I don't know what it is, but I don't like them as much as I used to. And everything that you were talking about as far as character and all that.
Well, you said microwavable. I would say today it's the fast food of film industry.
Fast food, that's a good.
Yeah, I mean,
get it.
Everything's so rushed nowadays. I mean, there's no build-up of atmosphere. As we were talking about. One of the things, horror worked without having to rely on the whole blood and guts routine. Because, after a while, it's just like, all right, yeah, this is ridiculous, this is dumb, this is disgusting, whatever. Original horror films that didn't really rely on that stuff, they relied on the atmosphere. They relied on the build-up. It's the subtleties that mess with your brain to make you think that something's scary. For example, let's say character A, let's say middle-aged guy, glasses, suit, all that stuff. He comes home from a meeting or work or whatever. It's a little subtle things he does when he gets home. Let's say he's home by himself, or maybe he has a little butler. Let's assume this guy's pretty well off.
Yeah.
Butler leaves, goes to a different area. He's undoing his jacket, undoing his tie, pours himself a little glass of whiskey or something like that, sets it down, walks around the room a little bit, lights up a cigarette, walks around the room a little bit more. Now, there's no dialogue. It's just a guy acting as he would when we just got home, right? No music, no sound, simply the sound of the guy doing this thing, and then all of a sudden, a noise in the background. He looks towards a hallway. That's when the music starts off, and you get like a view of the hallway and this guy in the dining room area, and you see the stairs leading up to the next floor. Guy decides to go investigate. Don't really have to go any further than that, because that scene in itself has impact. You hear the music, you know there's something's about to happen. You know there's tension. Doesn't necessarily mean there's a jump scare, which a lot of horror movies do nowadays.
I think Hollywood thinks we're too dumb. I think they'd rather, instead of that whole scene that you talked about,
Yeah.
the average suit, and I'm just being one of those guys, I'm not in their world, but they're like, well, that's taking too long.
So it's supposed to take too long because it's build up. That's where building up is.
I get it, but does Hollywood get that? Like the way that stories, the reason that movies don't feel the way today that they did back then, we're not going to ever have another Taxi Driver. We're never going to have another Godfather.
No.
We're never going to have another,
Don't say it.
what's another one? I mean, that we're just not going to have. That's legendary. We're never going to have, well, let's just use those two. Those are ones that I can think of right offhand. Fair? Would they even survive today? Let's say they were released in a modern form, but with the same storytelling techniques. Is our attention span so short that we wouldn't be able to make a crew there? I got mixed feelings about it.
I think average population is nowadays. And
But they could watch 3-hour Marvel movies.
yes, but the thing with 3-hour Marvel movies is it's just action nonstop. It's just back
You
to
don't have
back
to
to
think about it.
You don't have to think about it. Everything's
That's
happening so fast.
That's
Even
true.
if you have like little dialogue scenes, they feel rushed to me. You don't.
Is this like they just inserted it just so that they could break up the action and that's it?
Yeah, I think the last superhero movie I actually was going to see was Black Adam. There are parts of it I liked, but
I saw it on
it had a really long.
streaming.
Yeah, it had a really long introduction. It was kind of like, all right, interesting. What's going on here? The whole introduction was probably like 15 minutes long, and then once it got to actually starting the film, it was just like back to back to back to back. It was like, okay,
It was an assault on one sense. Not
What-
your senses, but one of your senses. It's ritual.
the majority of the superhero franchise is. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's Marvel or DC.
There was a Thor movie that came out. I can't remember the name of it, but they had a whole completely. It's like if M. Night Shyamalan at his best shot Thor. Never seen anything like it. The effects, you could tell that they were on a budget,
Wow.
but it wasn't bad. But
Same man that wrote The Village.
yeah, well, yeah.
Same man that did Unbreakable, and
Unbreakable was great to me.
Unbreakable was great to me too. What was the other one? One came after that.
You got Unbreakable, you got Split.
Split was okay.
Nobody talks about The Sixth Sense anymore. It's like that was his.
That was the one he was well known for.
Nobody will ever make
Another Sixth Sense.
exactly.
No, that was a really good suspense film.
There was.
It really was. The fact that like red symbolized something. Everything that was happening that was like supernatural had a
Red too.
had something red to it. I mean, that was those little Easter eggs,
The little subliminal things, man. People, it's like you know when it's not there, but you don't notice when it is there. But if you take it out of a movie,
talking about Hereditary, for example.
Hereditary, that was full of.
The perfect example.
That's a lover
Film.
movie.
It is. But it's chock full of Easter eggs. It's one of those things when I watched it the first time, I was like, what's going on here? You notice little things in the background. Like, for example, a little girl goes outside and she's looking at something that you can kind of tell it's some sort of weird bonfire, but they never focus on.
Nope.
But then you go back and watch the film a second time and they're with a whole new perspective. You're like, brilliance.
Yeah.
That would be a really tough film to make to pull off, and I felt like they actually did. I mean, everything that was happening in the background, you don't necessarily notice it the first time. When you go back to watch the second or third time, you start noticing it. You're like, that is clever.
Yeah.
That is clever filmmaking.
Well, on that note, we're going to take a break. We're going to refill. We are at Paseo. Where are we at? Picasso's?
We are at Picasso's.
Well, I keep wanting to say Paseo Grill. That's where I take that's where you take your girl.
You say girl.
All right, let's go refill, and let's set up you get ready for round two.
All right, round two coming your way.
Okay, Nick and I are back for round two. Glasses are being refreshed. Yes, sir. Where'd we leave off at? We were talking about,
Well, we were talking about Easter eggs and also talking about how, talking about how we couldn't have another Godfather or a classic film like that because, well, times have changed. And sadly, I did say that. I mean, at one point, times have to change. Things have to progress in some ways, sure. But I feel like it's time to go back to classic filmmaking with a modern touch. That's kind of hard to explain, and I mean, the interpretation of that's going to be different for everybody, but there is a magic to older films that has not been touched upon today.
Okay,
But with today's technology, there is so much potential to make classic filmmaking even better today.
well, let me ask you this.
Yeah, but
Since young people didn't grow up, let's say this generation,
some people didn't grow up. Obviously, they
since they didn't grow up in the era of filmmaking that we grew up in,
right.
would they have a point of reference for what a great film is? And here's what I mean by that. The original Exorcist scared the crap out of me, right?
Yeah, you told me about that.
But
Spinning head. No, it was the spinning head, the puking, and the. Let's not talk about the cross.
it's just all of it,
Yeah,
right?
It was disturbing. Even today, it's still disturbing.
My thing is it disturbing enough? Because a lot of people, the younger you go, when you talk to them about The Exorcist, they say, well, it was funny to me. So, when you take...
I mean, you have to ask yourself, how fucked up are you?
Or how jaded are you? It's like, well, is there anything that's capable of scaring, affecting? Have we become zombies to the point to where all we really react to is visual stimulation?
I think the answer to that is everything appears watered down now because we push the extremes over the decades, right? I mean,
That's true. We got extreme to a whole other level.
we did. I mean, it's kind of same thing. Like, all right, we're both music buffs, right?
Yeah.
You come from a rap hip hop background. Yeah. I was more rock and metal, and while I was in high school, and a lot of the metalhead kids I hung out with were really into like extreme metal, death metal.
Yeah.
So, if you don't have to be a real metalhead to know to have heard the band Cannibal Corpse. I mean, you look at their album covers and it says it all. It's just extremely graphic, nasty, right?
Yeah.
So even the music has gotten pushed to such extremities. So filmmaking, particularly horror, action films, the extremes got pushed. I mean, it's just more graphic violence, more foul language, more sexual content over the years, and just it's to a point where you get desensitized. Yeah. Exorcist is still scary to me, but
Yeah, it bothers me on a whole other level.
then again, have you seen Terrifiers?
I have seen Terrified. I saw the first one. I didn't see the... We're talking, there's Terrified and then there's Terrified.
Terrified, the clown.
The Clown. Art the Clown.
Yeah. So,
I'm going to get an Art the Clown t-shirt out. That's mine.
I mean, I'm just going to describe my personality. So, yes, I can go and watch Terrifier and laugh through it because Art the Clown is ridiculously hilarious. But that being said, it's absolutely disturbing what he does throughout the whole film.
Well, we laugh first. Isn't it funny that we laugh first? When he does whatever he's going to do.
It makes you wonder if you need a psych evaluation, to be honest, because we laugh at this stuff and then we look back and be like, I'm a fucked up individual. I'm laughing at this.
Oh, yeah.
Damn.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I laughed throughout the entire movie. I mean, I was disgusted.
I was too. But it's like, this is fucking gross.
But it was hilarious.
It's
Why was it hilarious? Like these acts of violence. What does that say about?
Because he's smiling, that ridiculous smile, just skipping around like shit.
Is it like gleeful? Are we talking gleeful repugnancy?
Oh, probably. I mean, it was like another film that you and I liked that most people will probably think were fucked up individuals was The House of Jack Doe.
I love that movie. Was it
Matt Dillon, right?
Yeah, Matt Dillon, Lars von Trier.
Lars von Trier.
Anything
It's
that
an
he
art
touches,
film.
yeah.
I mean, essentially, it's an art film.
Anything that he touches is going to be demonic and anti. It's
And political, to a degree. Now, that film was interesting because, to me, that film was 3 acts. And each act was different than the other. You had the introduction arc leading up to him explaining how he became what he became, and very calculative and OCD.
I thought that was interesting.
It was.
That he was OCD.
But as time went on, he
Almost got him caught.
It did.
Yep.
But apparently he had the power of God. But then, second arc, we see him become more egotistical and more reckless and taking more chances.
Yeah.
Because as he committed his crimes, he became more empowered and really just think that he was invincible. But then we go into the third chapter, arc 3, and that's where it gets completely weirded out. I gotta watch my mouth now because there's a child right next to me. But
Hey, way to be respectful.
I don't want to disturb the children. I'm already disturbing enough, apparently. Chapter 3, if you haven't seen it, and just to use some spoilers, was basically a re-envisioning of Dante's Inferno. And I mean that
That's pretty much what it was.
it was. He enters hell lives being guided by a man named Verge, who, if you know anything about Dante's Inferno, is Virgil. And he is led through the circles of hell. And they artistically describe that with visuals in a lot of really strange ways.
It starts to become an art movie. It does things that...
This is where really, really stands out as far as the artistic part. I mean, the previous 2 chapters, you see bits in the politics involved with the build-up of the character and flashbacks and things like that. Things that Lars von Trier definitely was trying to, the message he was trying to get out. Going back to what I said previously about messages and filmmaking.
But do you think that movie was too artistic to the point to where... Okay, because I don't recall it didn't get released here. You know what I mean? And I
never heard about it until you loaned me the DVD.
Well, it was they had a festival run, and I can't remember if it was the Cannes Film Festival or I can't remember that other one. It wasn't Venice. It was something else. It wasn't Sundance. But people got up and walked down.
Spain?
can't remember. I just remember the people they were disgusted by it. Some people walked out on it.
That's fair. I mean, but let's be real. It was a disgusting film.
But it's funny that some films work in their disgust, because Hereditary in the end was disgusting. To
The whole film was disgusting.
it was disgusting. But Lars von Trier,
In horror, that's kind of what we expect, especially nowadays. It's like, as far as like pulling off a horror genre, it's how bloody and disgusting you can make it, which isn't actually my favorite form of horror film. My favorite form of horror film is going back to what I was talking about previously. It's about build-up, it's about atmosphere, it's about messing with your psychology, because that's true horror. I mean, blood and guts and all that stuff. As I said, we're desensitizing. You can see it, see it for what it is, which is just, it's cheap, it's disgusting. It's just like,
so is Hereditary a great movie for this time because it does adhere to those things that you're talking about, or would it be considered great during the golden age of modern horror? With your poltergeists, everything from The Exorcist to Poltergeist, The Fog. And would it still be considered great at that point?
if Hereditary was pushed back then,
Yeah.
it would be considered too extreme, for sure.
Would it be considered great though? I mean, because The Exorcist was considered extreme. It was just as gross as Hereditary. It was disgusting.
What was Reanimators, right?
I forgot about that. Everybody forgets about that movie. That's my shit.
It would be in that same category, like, because it's like, you know it, but it's not a household name. You know what I mean? It's a movie that would gain cult following for being extreme. So for back then,
Yeah.
I don't think it had appeal. Today, is it a great film today? It is if you pay attention. If you're incapable of noticing these little Easter eggs.
And that kind of goes back to is the public capable? And it shows you how divided the country was. Half of us got it, half of us didn't get it. Is the country capable of having an attention span long enough to be able to go down the rabbit hole of something like Hereditary? Because A24 Studios, that's what they make. They make movies that make you think. I don't know if you saw Black Coat's Daughter, but that's another one.
I did not.
You need to see that. Black Coat's Daughter is, I think that's A24.
What I think made a good horror film, have you seen, was it Black Phone? Is that what it's called to me?
Yeah, it's Black Phone, like Ethan Hawke. I like Ethan Hawke.
That was actually a good film. That's a good psychological. Yeah, it has some supernatural elements to it.
Was it good for this era, or was it good, or was it a great? Would you consider it a great movie, or would you consider it a good for this time movie?
I don't know if I could call it a great movie per se.
Yeah.
But I definitely think it was above average. It was good.
Do we have room for the great movie? Since we're talking, we've been sticking to the genre of horror. Is there any room nowadays for a great horror? And will we know it if we got it?
Very good. I mean, of course, with anything involving film, it's going to be subjective, all right?
Yeah.
But that's kind of why we do this. We talk about our own opinions on the matter. In my honest opinion, if we could say what works in war days, the build-up of atmosphere. Real characters element.
Why do we get away from it? I mean, if it was so
Because
great,
nobody gives a shit about, excuse my language. Okay, she wouldn't see here. Nobody cares about the characters. If you want to make an impactful film, especially in horror, you have to make the characters relatable. You have to care about these characters. And if we're talking like a similar slash thing, how many slasher films do you watch where you actually gave a damn about any of the families? Aside from the final girl or final boy, none.
I mean, absolutely, none. I mean, being the black guy, I'm gonna tell you, like when the black guy was gonna die in the movie.
If you were in my horror film, you would survive. I will say to the end.
I appreciate that. Oh, we talked about that at work. What we did is we were given time signatures to who would live in the movie, and I was trying to.
You're too intelligent to die early. That's why I knew she was this. Well, I did that, but you'd be smart. You lock yourself in whatever you could, arm yourself, and you would hide out or find a way to get a hold of the authorities.
Wait, here's what I was saying. I said,
I have to be honest, if you were chased, you're not going to get very far, man, but that's because of your own physical ailment.
Yeah, I'm a walking example of everything wrong with an individual from a biological standpoint. But we were talking about at work. We were talking about who would live and who would die. And I was telling one of my friends, for both black, and I said, as long as there's a cat or a dog in there, we're all right until that cat or that dog dies, and then.
No way, man. I mean, usually what happens at the end of the family, you find out the dog or the cat then dies. But then when you're distracted by the cat and dog,
then you died.
he's right behind you.
Yeah, you died.
Yeah.
But you know that's changing now. Nowadays, yeah, the black guy is expected to live now. Anything that's not the middle-aged white guy is gonna die. You're becoming the new black guys.
I mean, to a degree, I like the fact that it's not based on race in more films.
Yeah.
Particularly,
I don't want it to be cliched. I hate when things become cliche.
because exactly. I mean, it's true. They always go black. Why?
I mean, if it's Jordan Peele, you're gonna live. A black guy's gonna live in a Jordan Peele.
Because you see that it's more physically fit and imposing than most of the white guys.
I think that's kind of racist, isn't it?
I said it in these films. I mean, go back and watch. Tell me I'm wrong. They pick men that are physically imposing.
Unless it's Forrest Whitaker. I mean, he's a great actor. I love him.
Soppy Forrest Whitaker. Just like you pick up a Samuel Jackson.
But you know what? He's Ghost Dog.
Yeah. Oh my God, I love him.
He's Ghost Dog. We got to do a complete review of Ghost.
I'm for it because that is one of the favorite films ever.
That will be our. Well, we have a underlooked, underrated martial arts gems. And Ghost Dog needs to be one of the films that we review.
But you know, Ghost Dog wasn't really a martial arts film. It was a film of philosophy.
It was, but there's some movies like Twilight Samurai. That wasn't a martial arts movie, but it's hard for me to categorize it. I guess it could be considered like a international film drama.
Well, another thing to point out, Ghost Dog is that was falling into art film.
That's true.
Fire. Like I said, it was a film.
More of a mafia film, wasn't it? I mean, because he was he was hired by.
Well, when you break down Ghost Dog, and you take what you know about like ancient Japan,
Yeah.
you actually realize that the events going on in Ghost Dog with Samurai is just like how events might have taken place in ancient Japan.
Yeah.
The gangsters, you could view them as daimyo or yakuza,
Yeah.
perhaps, even though, I mean, they're not. But when you think about it, I mean, samurai were kind of like gangsters back in those days, just like some could consider it, you know. That's going to be controversial, but, you know, police precincts to be the most, you know, dominant gangs in the world.
Yeah.
If you go by that. I'm not saying you should or shouldn't. I'm just, it's an alternative way to think, I suppose, right?
Yeah.
I don't really stand for or against. Well, I mean, you know, usually I try to keep religion and politics out of my topics.
If you're organized, you have a uniform, you're armed, you're a gang. You know, whether you're a good gang or a bad gang, that depends on, you know.
Intent.
Yeah, because gang itself doesn't mean it's a gathering. It's a group of people, and it's, you know, in the purest sense, it's not a bad thing unless you make it a bad thing.
It's all based on power and what you do with it. The problem is when you have power and it goes to your head and tend to use it for selfish reasons.
Yeah,
But I think we're getting off topic.
we are. There's so much to unpack and talk about. So we literally could talk about 20, 30 different things, and we're going to talk.
Yeah.
And we are. We're going to.
You and I have had a lot of conversations about various topics: film, life, dating, religion, fitness to a degree. Oh, we've had many different discussions, but
we'll keep it on point in the horror genre, since it is Halloween coming up.
it is.
We are going to eat and traditional.
I think we've had our first big bomb of the season with The Exorcist. I'm hoping that the trend
is dying as far as the reboots, but you know what?
I don't know because, I mean, actually, you know what? While we take this moment, and while we talk about reboots or remakes that actually it wasn't as good as the originals, because nothing is ever as good as originals, but let's talk about films that actually did work and what they did right. For example, the Dawn of the Dead remake. That was actually a good remake.
That's Zack Snyder, isn't it? I think so. It's Zack Snyder. Yeah.
So. Don't quote me on that, and don't hold me to any criticisms if I don't know, because I'm not an expert.
But that was absolutely fine. You know what? I'm gonna even go a step further. I like the remake of Dawn of the Dead more than I like the original.
So did I.
We might be on. Hey, man, we might be in the minority of that, and we are. Yeah, it's controversial.
But that's okay. And here's why I feel that way. The original Dawn of the Dead was very campy, kind of corny. I mean, you've had great actors in the original, but I think it wasn't terrifying to me.
That movie was goofy to me.
It was goofy. I didn't like they made the zombies actually rock.
Yeah.
Ving Rhames is the baddest.
Yeah, he was great.
Dude, like, he can't put Ving Rhames at anything, he's going to make it bad. You just can't.
No, he makes everything bad.
Everything great. It doesn't matter what role he's claimed. When it's a comedy role, he's hilarious.
Yeah, Rotten Eggs, put Ving in it, makes it better. Action, put him in it, makes it better.
Or put him people on the stairs, and I was pissed they killed him off so early, but
yeah, because he was a great character.
He was a fantastic character, which is not a horror movie.
He could have been a hero character. He could have legitimately...
In my honest opinion, he wasn't Dawn of the Dead. He was the hero.
Yeah.
But they pulled that off well and better than the original, which is Brad.
Yeah, they did.
I mean, another one, I thought they did better than the original. Let's see. You had one, didn't you?
The Crazies.
I don't think I've seen any of the Crazies.
Okay. Well, here's the deal.
I don't think I want to because it's called the Crazies.
Well, the Romero, it's the same thing. Here's the deal. It was a great movie, and you might remember it.
I might.
It's
so he plays in like a happy house.
Well, the Crazies was
I'm thinking of something Walt said.
Yeah, the Crazies was it's something happened to make the people go crazy. That's in this community go crazy. They're killing each other. There's a lawnmower scene which was absolutely devastating. I think if I'm thinking about that, the right scene in the right movie, because I've seen so much stuff. The original Crazies was good. It was innovative, but the remake was good for one reason. I liked the actors. It did the exact same thing that the original did.
You know, like the actors, or you like the characters?
I like the characters. I like the characters.
There is a difference.
Yeah, because relatable.
Well, to me, actor doesn't matter as long as he actually pulls the character up well.
They pulled him up. I think the guy that was in it. I don't know if you see Justified.
I haven't. I mean,
he plays this sheriff named Raylan. Raylan does everything. Let's just say he's a renegade. Guy can act. So the character that he was playing, as far as being a lead, you liked the people that were involved in what was happening to the town.
Okay.
There was nothing bad about it. They didn't take this thing and flush it down the toilet. I think that's what I respected about it. I said it was better. I appreciate it.
Was at least equal to.
Yes. Yeah.
When I say better or worse, I mean, if you have a remake that's equal to,
yeah, let's give it to.
You're not losing points.
Yeah. So I got to say the Crazies.
I've heard you a second ago. You were about to talk about the original Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
Which is still one of the greats.
Yeah.
To me.
Yeah.
The remake, it wasn't as good, but it wasn't bad.
I forgot about that now.
With Tony Todd, I'll say this.
I don't know.
Tony Todd made it, dude. For me,
I don't know if it was better or worse. You know what?
They did make the Robert character try to stand out more and be more, like, imposing.
Yeah. I like what they did with Barbara. I think
I did too. I did too, because in the original film, she was mostly cats on throughout the whole film.
She was dead space.
She was. And she had her little hero moment, and then she saw her brother, and it took it from there.
I was pretty happy when she was murdered.
Yeah, the beach can.
I was pretty delighted when she was murdered.
I thought that was more fucked up individual. You're right.
I'm just saying. Took a lot of space up.
And that's why that worked, because that was horrible. She's the first main character you encounter in the whole film. She's mostly catatonic. She's kind of a background character in the second chapter, if you will. In the second half, however you want to describe it.
Yeah.
And then she makes her hero stance, and she ends up sacrificing herself to save.
Did she sacrifice or did she just get caught up? It wasn't really even a...
She got distracted by seeing her brother. She got caught up.
But he didn't die heroically. She
did, because she couldn't run. She did. She went to go help. What was the main character's name? And
Ben.
She went to go help Ben.
Yo.
And she got caught. In the remake, she has more of a heroine stance.
She gets her act together.
She does.
Yeah. And now that's a heroine. That's a hero that I can, because we talk about female heroes and you know, in the horror genre, we got like the big, I would put her in the big three. You got
the remake version.
The remake version. Yeah, she was great as a hero.
Now we're talking about Final Girls, and that's gonna be hard.
I mean, Final Girls in horror,
and yes, it's usually always the final girl. Even in Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, I know the main character was a guy, but in the end, it was a final girl.
It was a final girl.
It was.
Yeah.
I think that's also another cliche about the horror genres. I think
they had better final girls back in the days, I think. Just my opinion. But going on with remakes that were better than the original, it's your turn, isn't it? I think it's
horror films are better than
the remake.
Yeah, be like, oh,
with horror, that's really difficult for me. Dawn of the Dead was
I have to think, you know, it's because you know, as a rule, they're not.
They're not.
Most of them.
I almost said Hills Have Eyes, but I can't stand rape scenes in movies. I can't.
I did like The Hills Have Eyes. I do think that the remake was better, but I'm not a fan of The Hills Have Eyes to begin with.
I'm not either. I like the actor they have on Cecily than the bald guy. It turns out that guy actually has a health condition.
Yeah.
Whenever I see him in films, I think he's good.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go out on a limb. You remember the original Salem's Lot? And I'm going to get,
yes. With the vampire, right?
I loved it, but I also read the book.
Yeah.
So here's, when I say this,
right?
Barlow.
Yeah.
When I say this, I know that there's going to be people, you know, if anybody ends up listening to this, there's going to be people that disagree. And here's my point. I'll paint the whole picture. Barlow, the vampire in the book, was very different than the Barlows that we have. I mean, almost like Kubrick versus King in The Shining.
I think he only had one talking scene, and then there's a background.
I don't even recall the thing talking you talking about the original with the bald head and the teeth? Yeah, I don't even remember that. So he ripped off. Yeah, I don't remember him talking.
It was in the background.
Was it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Well, if that's the case, okay, then he actually did talk. Barlow was a very friendly-looking older guy. Okay, in the book.
Okay, so the older guy,
yeah,
is the vampire.
The old guy,
but in Murphy, the older guy is the guardian of the vamp.
And yeah, they flipped the whole.
They should not have it. And I can see that because
the vampires,
they made it look like Nosferatu. Yeah.
So my thing is, based off of what I read in the book,
which I guess was actually wrong. Or if we're getting technical, the vampire was not called Nosferatu, it was called
Count Orlok.
Count Orlok.
Because I read the book,
I'm not gonna get into the best.
But what?
Because I remember this Orlok. I'm not gonna get stopped by any horror fees.
I like the remake, the miniseries remake with Rob Lowe in it, just as much as I did the iconic 1979 movie.
Really?
And the reason I did is because I'm kind of torn between the two. If I hadn't read the book, I would have liked the 79 version better than the, a 1990 something?
I never saw the miniseries, but
I'll let you borrow it if I can dig it up. I'll let you.
guess what?
Fun.
That's getting you ready for a whole other topic.
Yeah.
And I think you see this coming.
I do. Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Shall we continue this, or shall we go straight to it?
Let's take an intermission, man. Bladder's full. I got to take an intermission.
All right, intermissions.